Good morning, Stampers. Happy Friday. Welcome to another Facebook Live. I'm just going to update my iPad here so that I can see. Be sure to say hi as you're joining in. Okay, let's see here. Here we go. Oh, sometimes that works really nice and sometimes it takes a while. Okay. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada, and every Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, I come online, and craft live with you. Good morning, Barb. You'll have to catch the replay later. That's completely fine. Mary Liz already texted me this morning and said the nerve of her office. They scheduled a meeting during the Facebook Live time. Okay, so the way I start every week, is to draw for last week's projects, providing it's something that's mailable. So if it's a scrapbook page or a 3D project, I usually pick something different. But these were the two cards that we made last week. So you get an entry for every comment that you make, question that you ask during the live or during the week following if you're watching the replay, whether it's on Facebook or on YouTube. Good morning, Amy. And if you share the video, then you get 5 entries. Okay, so I've got everybody's name in the tin, and Mary Liz is the winner, and I'll see her on Sunday at the Document December interactive album class. So I'll set that aside for her. Okay, I'm going to flip the camera around and we'll go ahead and get started. Give my screen a chance to catch up here. See what we look like. Okay. All right, so today we are going to make a fun fold gift card holder, Christmas themed. And this is what it looks like here. And we're combining a little mix of new and older product. It is still current product, but it's just a bit older. So it's something from last year. So we're combining the Christmas Time is Here DSP, which is still available while supplies last. I absolutely adore this pattern. It's just a simple pattern, but it's cherry cobbler with gold foil. Oh man, I just love it. And then we're using the ribbon from that same suite of product that is available while supplies last. And then we're throwing in a stamp set that was released in the holiday catalog last year, so Making Christmas Bright. And then it opens up. And so there's a little gift card holder and then a little spot for you to write a message. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing that we're going to do is we are going to take a piece of cherry cobbler cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 11, and we are going to score it in 2 spots. So I'm going to pull in my Stampin' Trimmer, and we are going to score it at 4 1/4 and 8 1/2. And remember, if you're using the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, it's the lighter gray blade that is the scoring tool. I don't know how many times I've cut instead of scored. So 4 1/4 and 8 1/2. Okay, so then we can move this out of the way. And I'm gonna fold along this narrower score line first. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this bit up, but I'm going to make sure that it ends just before the score line, because you want this flap to easily fold over. So your score line, you might have to do a bit of an adjustment, so that's why I like to do it that way. So I'm just pulling that cardstock and then forcing the fold to go there. It's pretty much in the same spot, but I find that that makes it a little bit smoother. Okay, so then it'll sit like this. Hey Diane, finally catching a live, hey? Okay, All right, so we are creating, for those of you who are just joining in, we're creating a fun fold Christmas gift card holder today. Okay, so this is my base. So I took a 4 1/4 by 11-inch piece. I scored it at 4 1/4 and 8 1/2 to create my base. So now I'm gonna pull in the stitched Be Mine stitched framelits. And I'm going to use this scallop border die. I adore this scallop border die. My goodness, I love it so much. I'm gonna pull in my Big Shot. And now what I'm gonna do, this shorter flap, I want a scallop border. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to just line it up so that it's straight. Actually, I think I'm gonna use some washi tape because it seems to want to pull right now. So normally when I use straight edge dies, I will put them in going this way because otherwise you get this big loud clunk from your Big Shot and sometimes it doesn't cut. But because my card won't fit in that way, I can't position it the other way, I'm gonna feed it in this way. And when I did my sample, it worked fine, so let's hope it works fine again today. Grab another piece of washi tape here. Okay, so I'm just gonna make sure that that's straight. Add just a bit of washi tape to make sure that it holds in place. And then feed it through and you'll hear that big loud clunk. Oh, and it wasn't too bad this time. Well, let's hope it cut. Oh, it did, okay. So I'll carefully peel off my washi tape so that it doesn't tear my cardstock. And we'll move this out of the way. Okay, so now you see you got that gorgeous stitched detail and then with that really pretty scallop border. So now when you close it, it's gonna look like that. Pretty, hey? All right, so let's go ahead and decorate the front flap. So I've got a 4 by 4-inch piece of The Christmas Time Is Here DSP, and I'm just going to add a little bit of glue around the edges and stick that on that front panel. And that will give me about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my 2-inch circle punch and I want to create a notch. So this is how it's gonna close. So on this right-hand side, I'm gonna open the card all the way. I'm gonna take my 2-inch circle punch. You can also use a framelit for this. And I'm basically just centering that score line in the center of my punch. Or close to it anyways. So then that creates my little peekaboo hole, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is we are actually gonna do some embossing. Actually, we're doing quite a bit of embossing today. I don't know, I seem to be on this great embossing kick. Okay, so I've got some gold foil here and I'm going to use this image from the Making Christmas Bright. And I'm going to emboss gold on the gold foil. Actually, let's use my embossing buddy here. Just make sure there's no sticky fibers or sticky oils or anything on there. And when you stamp on foil, you do want to be very careful because it is a slippery surface. Okay, and then I'll pull in some of my gold embossing powder. I actually don't do this very often. I need to do it more often. It looks so pretty. Okay, so we've got the powder on there. Now we'll bring in the heat tool and heat it up. Okay, so you'll see that it does curl the foil quite a bit, but I find all you have to do is kind of curl it back the way you want it, and it lays pretty flat. And then I'm gonna bring in my 2-inch circle punch again and slide it in. And now this is not quite big enough to get the whole image. So what I'm gonna do is just position it so that it's pretty centered, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Most of it's going to be covered over, and I just wanted a little bit of detail around the edges. So I'll bring it up closer so you guys can see, or hopefully you can see. So you can see there that I still have the scribbly lines and some of the little stars that are in the details, but it didn't, if you look at the negative space, you can see that there are bits and pieces left, but that doesn't matter. Okay, so now I've got that. Now I'm going to bring in, actually let's use a bigger piece of, I've got Very Vanilla cardstock, and I'm going to stamp May Your Christmas Be. Oh, I always have more success if I use that embossing buddy, so I try to remember to use it every time. It doesn't always work. And then bring in my gold embossing powder. Good morning, Mary. Tap off the excess, and then we'll do our other embossing as well while we're here. I'll just set that aside, that way I can heat them both at the same time. So now I've got a 4x4 inch piece of Very Vanilla cardstock, and I'm going to use the word bright. So the greeting will actually read, May your Christmas be bright. Oh, and I forgot to use my embossing buddy. Well, 2 out of 3 times, I guess, is better than nothing. I guess if it doesn't work, I can always flip it over. Oh, it looks okay. Yeah, that turned out okay. All right, let's dump this back in and move this out of the way so we don't spill. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring it in my heat tool and heat both of these up. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring in my 1 3/4 inch circle punch, which when I was doing my blog post this morning for this project, I realized it is retired, but hopefully you all already own it if you wanted to replicate this. But if you don't, you could easily just use the layering circles. So they don't have to be these exact sizes that you use. Now I'm going to add this to my gold with some dimensionals. And it's just gonna go in the center. So I'm just gonna try to make sure that I've got a relatively even border all the way around. And then I'm going to pull this in, and what I'm going to do, still needs to be a little bit. Okay, I'm going to close this, and I'm going to add Tombow. Oh, you know what? One other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to distress around the edges. Now, you'll see in a minute why I'm doing this. It would probably make it a little bit smoother to open and close if you were to use a punch that was slightly larger than the punch that you're using to put in here. So if this hole was slightly larger than this one, but I like the look of it being the same size, like being a perfect fit. So you'll see when I open and close it, it does take just a little bit of handling. So by distressing it a little bit, that helps. Okay, so I want to make sure that my Christmas is straight. Okay, that looks good. So we're just going to give that a minute to set. And then I'll show you. This I'm going to take and I'm going to stamp a couple of these other images from the Making Christmas Bright. So I'm going to use this one and stamp a little detail on here using Cherry Cobbler ink. So I just want it to look so like there's a string of stars hanging down. And then I'll do the same with these bigger stars. I apologize if my head's in the way here. I'm just trying to make sure it's straight. There we go. So it's cute. It's a cute little detail. All right. So now I'll pull back my card. And actually, let's wrap our ribbon around. I've got an 18-inch piece of that gold shimmery ribbon that is part of that Christmas Time Is Here suite. I love, love, love this ribbon. It ties really nicely. And it's, I don't know, 1/4 inch. I love 1/4 inch ribbon. It's just, when you tie a bow, it's not too bulky. It ties really nicely, and it's kind of an ideal width. It's not too wide for a card. It's a great width for if you want to add ribbon to a card. I find some ribbons are a little too wide, and if you're tying a bow or even a knot, sometimes it's too bulky and you have to pay extra postage. So I'll just trim the ends of this. And then I'm gonna tuck a couple mini glue dots, which I have here somewhere. There we go. Underneath, just to hold it in place. So I'll do one underneath where the bow is. And then I'll probably add another one over here, just to hold it in place. I don't want the ribbon to slide off since it is pretty close to the end. And then I'll add another one on the, maybe a couple more on the inside. Actually, probably just one in the middle. Okay, all right. So now, when you open it, you'll see that that is just a bit snug. And actually, I'm just gonna use my fingers and just curl that up a little bit. So the more you use it, the easier it will get to open up like that, okay? So this is a card that I will likely give to somebody who is somewhat familiar with card making. Okay, so for the gift card holder part, I've got a 1.5 by 4 inch piece of that same patterned paper that I used on the outside. And I'm just going to add a narrow bead of Tombow on 3 sides. So one long side and the 2 short sides. And stick that in the center here. And then my gift card will just tuck right in there. Okay, and then you love this fold, Amy? Yeah, I haven't, you know, I love revisiting older ideas. This is one that's been around for a while, but I haven't made it in a while, so it's fun to go back and do something that you haven't done in a while. All right, now when I use Tombow, I normally do not use this much Tombow, but because my cardstock is just a little bit warped from it being embossed, I want it to go all the way around the edges just so that it holds it flat. So I'm just positioning that in here, and then I'll go all the way around the edges carefully. I don't want to smear my ink, which I did on my sample. If you look closely, you can see a little smudge. All right, so then that holds that down nicely. Okay, so then if we were to take a gift card, let me pull in this one. gift card just slides nicely in there. And I'm still using a spring gift card. I'll have to get, I keep saying that I have to pick up some gift cards so that I have something Christmassy to put in these Christmas ones. All right, so there we go. Isn't that pretty? I think I'm gonna trim these ends just a little bit. So there's a fun fold for you guys to try this weekend, especially if you give lots of gift cards. We give quite a few gift cards at Christmas. So it's always nice to have a few different styles of gift card holders. All right, and I encourage you, so my challenge for you this weekend is try to combine something new with something older, okay? So here I used some new DSP, but then pulled in a stamp set that when you look at this DSP, when you look at the rest, it's really, really florally, and maybe you would think that you would need to pull something florally to use with it, but I pulled something in a completely different style because I wasn't using the florals on this particular project. So that's my challenge for you this weekend. If you get some time to craft, try pulling something new and then matching it up with something a little bit older and create something with it. All right, and I'd love to see it. Be sure to share it with me. I always like to see what you guys are making. All right, so I want to give you a heads up. Thank you, Elaine. I want to give you a heads up that starting December 1st, so Sunday, I am starting a 12 Days of Christmas series. So every day there will be a different video posted on YouTube. I will likely link the videos on my page as well, but I won't always do a blog post. I'll probably still just do the blog posts on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays because I don't normally do a blog post every day. But there will be a new YouTube video every day, not a Facebook Live. Facebook Lives will just be the 2 Fridays. So make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Stamping Treasures, and I'll post a link in the above. No, they won't be live. Just the Friday videos will be live. The rest will be on my YouTube channel. All right. Jumped ahead of you, hey? Okay. So yeah, make sure that you subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out. They will all be Christmas themed because that's what you guys asked for. And it will be a combination of cards, tags, and gift packaging. For the most part, those will be the 2. I may throw in a scrapbook page, and I think there's 1, possibly 2 3D projects. I've designed 4 of the 12 projects so far. I still have a ton more to do. So that's this weekend's job. All right, so thanks so much for watching. If there's any of these products that you'd like to purchase, feel free to visit my online store. I'd be happy for you to purchase from me. And remember, if you spend $50 with me, you get a little gift in the mail with your thank you card. Thanks so much for watching. Have a fabulous weekend, guys.